Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube channel, where I'm always breaking down the hot sports topics of the day. My name is Mike. I'm going to be talking more baseball here in the next couple weeks. I discussed the Michael Bourne signing by the Indians a couple days ago. Also discussed in a separate video how that signing now affects the Mets outfield situation. And since I think the Mets outfield is going to be porous, as I outlined in that video, and the overall lack of talent they have from an offensive perspective, their starting pitching is going to be key. I think their starting pitching is the difference with them being an average team and a dreadful team. I think the starting pitching is the strong point of their team. First, with Johan Santana, I'm kind of going to dissect all five guys and what I think the Mets can expect from them this season. Santana, first and foremost. This is the last year of Santana's big money deal that he signed with the Mets during the Omar Minaya regime, and is sort of the last contract that the Mets have to get out from under before they can sort of move forward here. And Santana had a good start to the season last year. I think you saw the effects of his injury come later, his injury the year prior come later in the season. He didn't have the stamina that he normally has. Obviously gave the Mets their first no-hitter in their franchise history last year, which was a good moment. But I think this year the Mets, best case scenario from Santana, they get a strong start to the season from him once again. They're able to move him at the deadline for a quality young outfield bat from a team looking to add a pitcher at the deadline. And I think if Santana's healthy, he could definitely help a team heading down the stretch. And obviously, his expiring contract will be of particular value to a lot of teams that are in the hunt. If they're able to move Santana for a young piece, they'll have moved Dickey for d'Arnaud and Syndergaard. They moved Beltran for Zack Wheeler. So they'll be able to unload three quality guys, three veteran guys that they didn't have any long-term interest in re-signing, and stockpile their farm system, which is really the direction the Mets are heading in right now. So again, that's I think the best case we can expect from a guy like Santana. The number 2 and 3 spots will probably be Jon Niese and Matt Harvey. Jon Niese first. The Mets signed Jon Niese to an extension before last year, 5 years, $25 million. If Niese performs like he did last year, 3.41 ERA, 1.17 WHIP, he'll outperform that contract, and the Mets will look really smart for extending him like they did early. And you look at the good teams, they tend to do that. You saw the Rays do that with Evan Longoria. You saw the Mets even do that with David Wright early in his career, extend him before they needed to and get some value out of him towards the end of that contract. And if Niese is able to even take another step forward this year, I think the Mets will look very smart for making that commitment to him. I think the future of the Mets team as a whole is going to be a core built around Jon Niese, Matt Harvey, Zack Wheeler, Travis d'Arnaud, Ike Davis, and of course David Wright. So I think they need Niese to take the next step up here. I think once Santana either leaves in the middle of the season or at the end of the season, that Niese step up into a more of a leadership role. I really like what I saw from Niese last year. I wasn't totally on board with the extension before last year, but you know what? After what I saw last year and realizing he's a left-handed pitcher, he's consistent, he's generally stayed healthy. I'm excited to see what Jonathan Niese brings this year. Matt Harvey, of course, is the name you're going to hear a lot about. The young up-and-coming kid that will start the season with the Mets this year. Only made 10 starts last year, but in those 10 starts, 2.72 ERA, over 10 strikeouts per 9 innings, and he gave Met fans sort of a sampling of what's to come and showed that he's definitely a player to be excited about, along with the natural talent which jumps out at you when you watch Harvey pitch. I like his overall mentality, how intense he is, how aggressive he is, how he understands the pressure of playing in New York. He relishes the pressure of playing in New York, and I think from an ability standpoint and a temperament standpoint, he's a perfect fit for the Mets. I think they'll take him along a little slow this year. I don't think they'll totally unleash him and let him throw over 200 innings. But I think if you could get between 170 and 185 innings from him and ever get 15 wins from him, I think that would be amazing. But even if they get 12 to 14 wins from him, I think that would be considered a good season for Harvey. If he can stay healthy, make 30 starts in his first season, those are the things you look for from a young pitcher more than over 200 innings. Let's see him keep that strikeout number maybe at 8 or 9 per 9 innings, limit the walks, be able to last the whole season. And I think Matt Harvey, nothing but great things ahead for this young kid, and a guy, again, who I mentioned before will be a part of the core for the Mets for years to come. The 4 and 5 starters for the Mets, I think it's very, because of injury concerns, a lot like Santana, will be kind of up in the air what you get from them. First, Shawn Marcum. Shawn Marcum was a free agent pickup for the Mets. Will sort of fill that Chris Young role that Chris Young has filled the last 2 years. Sort of like a guy who has a lot of potential, has a lot of talent, but is oft injured. So we'll take a risk on him. Hopefully he works out. Hopefully he can give us some quality innings and really, make a difference for our team. We saw that with Chris Young. Chris Young had some good moments with the Mets, but was also hurt a lot. If Marcum can come in and be healthy, he's proven he's a productive major league pitcher. But that injury issue is obviously a huge if, and we'll see how that plays out for the Mets. Again, he's a one-year Band-Aid type player. Maybe they catch lightning in a bottle. Maybe he's terrible. But with the money they have invested, I'm not overly concerned what you get out of Marcum this year, because I think Zack Wheeler is a guy that will be up here in June, and if Marcum's not producing or hurt, he can just slide right into that spot. The number 5 starter spot right now belongs to Dillon Gee. I liked what I saw from Dillon Gee his first season with the Mets and the beginning of last year, even more so the beginning of last year, because while he was only 6 and 7, his whip was down, and he had better control last year. His numbers the year before, his first season with the Mets, were a little bit misleading because he had a good wins and loss record, but I thought he was a little wild. His whip was high, and that was evident of him being a little bit wild. I thought last year he calmed down, pitched a lot more strikes, gets that blood clot in his shoulder, though. He's had a long time off now. How does he come back from that blood clot in his shoulder? Obviously a big question mark. But if this year and in the future, Gee can be a guy that eats up innings, stays healthy, because that's the first significant injury he's had in his career is that blood clot. If he can stay healthy, eat up innings, and win 10, 11 games a year, I think that's the most the Mets can ask from him, and I think that's a way Gee can really hold on to a long-term starting spot in this rotation. I don't think he'll ever be a 1, 2, or 3 starter, but I think it's not out of the realm that he can be a consistent 4 or 5 starter for this team this year and going forward. Guys, those are my thoughts on the Mets starting staff, what we can expect from them as far as on the good side and on the bad side of each guy. Let me know what you guys think of the Mets starting staff. Outside of Zack Wheeler coming up mid-season, word is maybe around June, him and Darno will be up and provide the fan base and the Mets with some excitement, quite frankly, which I'm looking forward to. Are there any other starting pitching prospects or guys, veterans, that you expect the Mets to bring in, or you expect to maybe beat out one of these 5 guys? Or do you think these 5 guys are solidified? And what are your thoughts on these guys? Let me know. Hit me up in the YouTube comments. Hit me up on Twitter at SNewsAnalysis. And guys, I do tons of NFL stuff, college basketball, Major League Baseball videos. I do 2 or 3 or even sometimes more videos a day. So subscribe to my channel here, guys. You get all my videos uploaded directly to your feed here on YouTube. And obviously all that's free of charge. So thanks as always for listening. I hope we get more than we expect out of these Mets starting pitchers this season. And isn't it a great time of year? Pitchers and catchers, baseball ramping up. Enjoy, everyone. Good night.